the question actually is, what is wrong with America?
The Democrats are the ones. They are the party that cares for the people.
The 47th President of the United States.
This is the biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
Trump, once again elected to the White House, leaders around the world congratulating him on his historic comeback. But there is one leader who apparently has no plans to congratulate him. Russia's Vladimir Putin, according to the Kremlin.
When asked the question about why hasn't Vladimir Putin congratulated President-elect Donald Trump, he said, let's not forget that we're talking about an unfriendly country that is both directly and indirectly involved in a war against our state.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
28 days. 28 days, almost an entire month now. The month of October, the government has been closed. Up until like the last couple of days, nobody would have noticed. I mean, we had some very generous billionaires giving away money to pay for the military. We had some people trying to work some backroom deals, at least to get some other funding put together. And then you had, of course, the Democrats, who have a unique way of lying so that they're not lying, but mislead their constituency to say, well, the president and the controls the Senate and Congress. They have all the power. No, they don't. Not for a bill for appropriations that specifically requires 60 votes. And absent the nuclear option in this case, which would be to change the rules, we got to hold out for the 60 votes because we don't want to make it easier for if the Democrats ever get power again to, do the same thing and just go with the simple majority. Again, we could have a simple majority and get this thing hammered through, but that's just not the way it's done. Anyway, so here we go with another failed vote. The Democrats are saying that the Republicans have been on vacation all this time. No, they haven't. They've voted to open the government 14, 15 times now, and you guys said no. Because you need to have 7, 8 people come over to the other side. And we'll get into that story in just a little bit, but I'm grateful that all of you made it your way over here. Welcome to all of you. Thanks for being here on the thank you for your attention to this matter of the podcast. You guys kind of make this show go. You're the ones that are driving me to look to do it 5 days a week. This could be a Monday through Friday show, especially if the government remains shut down. I think we're going to have a lot of spleens to vent in that particular case. But let's say hi and thank you to some very generous people like Tony Piacente, who was here nice and early, gifting 10 Culture Casino memberships, getting us closer and closer to the 1,000 member mark where we used to be. Let's get back there. It's one of the ways you can help the channel become a member and enjoy benefits like tonight's movie watch party. We are watching The Mist from 2007. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think this will be a fun movie for you, for a spooky movie for the end of October. Myself and Comics Division host these seems like every other Tuesday, and they're always a lot of fun. So I want to say thank you again to Tony Piacente for making more names green like John Gibson III, the lovely Mary H. We've got Anthony out there as well. I'm going to try and say Salinardi. There we go. And I love the Italian names, guys. We've got Boom Shakalaka. That's right. That's a great name to say. And we've got Monkey Chunks in the house. That's great. And of course, Jacob Foxfires, love that guy. Elizabeth Plum, good to see you. And I hope you are here. As a matter of fact, we've got Arasaka, the Dapper Goose. That's a cool name. And let's see, Jeremy Bott joining us, as well as let's see, Gerald Campos. Excellent. I love that. Okay, let's say a special thank you to this super chat from our good friend Mark Fields, who says, I want to wish everyone well, and I wish everyone beautiful roads ahead. Me too. Positive vibes to you all, and positive vibes to you in return. Mark Fields, we appreciate you. The lovely Ruby Hoove gets crazy generous. There you go, gifting 5 Culture Casino memberships. So real quick shout out and thank you to all of you. I really do truly appreciate it. Look at all those names. Moonraiser, look at these names. We got all kinds of people. Kaiser Soze got a membership, and Soup Can, our friend and amazing Confederate's not the right word. And neither is co-conspirator, because if you're a mayoral candidate and you're putting your arm around a co-conspirator, that's not a good move for your campaign. No, this is the lovely compatriot, the first Dragon Queen. You can check out her channel and her thoughts on film and television. She does a lot of reviews. She has a special assistant. She's a lot of fun. She says, ready for spooky time tomorrow. Hugs for all. I am as well. Looking forward to that. Tony Piacente was even more generous with a $5 super duper chat to say, I think Schumer needs to be given a cognitive test. And I replied, yes, I think you're right. Ruby Hoove is more generous with another $5 in Culture Casino Cash, saying, listening, have a wonderful time. I will. And hopefully I can describe the things that you cannot see. And finally, our good friend Archer Merchant drops a $5 super duper chat saying, here's one just because gardening, pop culture, and politics can go hand in hand. And they do. And I'm going to have to change all my channel around just because of this wonderful show. But we got some big news today. I wanted to start off with it. It's kind of fresh. About 3 hours ago, John Doherty wrote it up over on the Conservative Brief. And I think it's something that we should talk about, because the first big decision or big ruling just came forward in the Charlie Kirk trial. So let's take a look at that and share it so you can all see. We've got Judge in Kirk assassination. Oh, wait. Yeah, there you go. Judge in Kirk assassination case makes first big ruling. Basically, what's going to happen? So the 4th District Court Judge, Tony Graff, has granted a motion allowing Tyler Robinson to wear civilian clothing during court appearances in his trial. So he can appear as an innocent person. It was how it was stated. This is the actual statement: shall be dressed as one who is presumed innocent. He did deny Robinson's request to appear without restraints, citing security concerns. Yeah, Judge, your own life might be in danger here. So I would imagine that would be a bit of a security concern, right? I think we could all agree in that. And let's see if I can move myself over a little bit. There we go. So he also prohibited media outlets from photographing or filming Robinson's restraints, as well as from capturing images of the 22-year-old entering or exiting the courtroom, Newsweek reported. Again, this just happened on September 10th in Utah Valley University while participating in a debate with students, which, the argument that he was in as he was removed from the planet was about just how liberals, leftists, Democrats are incredibly violent, and really the burden of all of that lies upon the leftist movements. And, in the process of talking about that, this Robinson fellow reportedly, allegedly, eliminated him. And it was a tragedy. You can find this story up on the Conservative Brief as well as Newsweek if you're looking for this story independently. But those are the first pretrial rulings, and we'll see where this goes from there. Robinson faces multiple charges in connection with Kirk's killing, including aggravated murder. Prosecutors have indicated they intend to pursue the death penalty in the case. I'm not surprised. It's a high-profile case with a strong public interest, and that's no lie. That is no lie. Robinson participated in the hearing remotely and did not appear on camera, but confirmed to the judge that he could hear the proceedings. Last week, prosecutors and defense attorneys met in closed-door session to address several issues, including the defense's request for Robinson to appear in civilian clothing. I'm not sure that it would matter anyway. I think everybody has already made their assumptions on this based on the evidence presented so far. Hopefully, we have an untainted jury pool, and this judge can keep any political ideology out of this so that people don't think it's a fixed trial, because those are always very bad. I'm not a huge fan. So just want to say thanks to those of you who are out there. You are amazing. I appreciate the participation. And for those of you who have not yet shared this on your social media, please do so. Share the stream, share the dream, and of course, hit the thumbs up button if you haven't as this point. Cole Hauser's in the house. What's up, Cole Hauser? Good to see you. Mark Daly is here as well. And we've got lots of lovely folks like Davina Duckworth. It's good to see you. Keep It Real in the house. And I think Emily Priest is in the house as well. By the way, just a quick reminder, you need to yell at YouTube if you don't want these @ signs to appear anymore. And I honestly don't know who some of you are, so I apologize. You may want to figure out a way to change your @ symbol. Woody M2 in the house. Good to see you. And Mark's 47. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. The lovely Sherry in the house. She's incredible. She's got her own commercial. She's that cool. And in fact, a couple of them, as a matter of fact. And Frank is here, guys, just so you know. Frank's here. Newton Bamhammer. Oyos, all my boyos. Look at these amazing humans. But I thought that we definitely needed to talk about Charlie's situation and what the courts are going to likely do. Our good friend C&D Designs, the talented human, is dropping this. What up, CC? What is up, C&D? Gotta love it. Gotta love it. We got good Canadian $2 from my friend. Cole Hauser says, hail, my brother. Hail to you, my friend. By the way, I love Canadians. If you don't know that, I have a lot of wonderful Canadians in the audience right now. And you know what? I'm sorry for your government. Man, Doug Ford and Carney are insane humans. I don't get it. It was real simple. Don't irritate, America and Trump specifically, and, you'll get back to being in the favored nation status that you should be. We're supposed to be pals and friends. You guys are supposed to parliamentary democracy, which is silly to me, but it's fine. It's what you do. And apparently you prefer authoritarianism and craziness. So sorry about that. Start voting better, I'll just say. Anyway, Tony Piacente with another generous $5 super chat says, I hope Robinson's ends up in the place represented in the last scene of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Indeed, I'm with you. I have a feeling that's guaranteed at this point. Richard says, I wouldn't do this guy any favors. I wouldn't either, my friend. I wouldn't either. Guys, look, we've got the biggest G.I. Joe fan in the world in the house. We got you are among friends. If you're a geek or a nerd, I promise you are among friends. Transformers friends, all kinds of stuff. And I saw a great meme today of a guy shaking a dad's hand. Obviously, he's dating a daughter of this man, and he's shaking the man's hand. It says, my daughter tells me you're a huge G.I. Joe fan. And he says, yes, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. And I can't say the joke on my channel, but it leads to the potential production of a child. Let's just say. It's hard to clean up that joke. Hurricane Melissa's on the way. Yes, for those of you in the path of this terrible storm, don't mess around. All right, this is not there is no FAFO on this one, kids. Get out of the way of something like this. It can hurt you, trap you, and basically ruin you. North Carolina is still not anywhere close to recovered from the disaster that the Biden administration left them with. Hopefully we've kicked out all the ideologue douche canoes out there that were running the emergency services that they were last time, because that was just awful. We've got Sapphics Moto saying, Neff here. I've looked. I can't find it. Oh, okay. I don't know. We've got again, another the first Dragon Queen spending her allowance on me. So it'd be, I'm fine with the ad, sort of free advertising. That's actually true for you, dear. That's very true. The beautiful Deeple is out there, I see. And we've got Daniel Alpine. That's a great name. 1994 says, Culture Scene, to clarify, I'm not a toxic positive. Sorry to be broken record, but I was concerned after watching Clownfish TV's new video about this new surviving animation video. Yeah, look, I can understand that. Clownfish is covering the news the way they see it, and the things that are happening, especially in the animation industry and stuff like that. I try to be a little bit more positive. A lot of my friends work in Hollywood, still barely every once in a while. And I do know one or two people that are doing animation now. And I weep for the industry, because you have a 60% collapse in film starts right now, especially in Hollywood. The 19 blocks are empty. So there's that. Yep. Who has two thumbs and came back as essential? This guy. Well, excellent, my friend. And you are essential. And I will always have your back. For those of you who've been in the military, I always have your back. Cole Hauser says, I think Japan is going to be the new Canada. So do I. What a great way to start a relationship, right? It was just incredible. In Malaysia, we're doing like the Trump dance. That was the Trump shuffle. It was fantastic. I mean, this Asian trip is going to be some of the best things. And if they get this China trade deal put together by the end of it, I'll be over the moon. Hopefully you will be too. But anyway, just so you know, you're amongst friends. If you're one of the fellow nerds here, I appreciate you. And you're also amongst the polar bears, like Snortopoopas Cuber. Delulu, what's going on, Delulu? Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you all through my wild days, my mad existence. I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance. 51st state, Japan. Dude, I would love that. Think about it this way, folks. Japan attacked us. They were not prepared to win. They weren't prepared for it to work, and it did. So we had Pearl Harbor. And by the way, I'm not happy about that at all. I don't think anybody should be. And I understand that some people still hold a grudge. I'll just tell you the truth. Think about just how few years passed, and we are now fast friends and working together to the betterment of society and prevent the West from being overtaken by globalists. I got to ask a question. Cat Sleep says, don't sink my drug boats, saying Venezuela. That's true. Yeah, that Maduro dude is like not very bright, especially since the CIA is now allowed to operate on their soil. That's not good. That's no bueno. I was less a fan of my brother taking an hour plus of agonizing, slow decision making, looking over everything. Sorry about that. That happens, especially when you go to a con. But look, let's get back to the main conversation points, because we got a lot today. I wasn't kidding. This is a full 2-hour program today, folks. So we just got the Charlie Kirk story done. And I'm still sad about that almost every day. I think that one's going to hit our culture for a long time. And man, when events like that happen, it does change the world around you. I think I'm going to start our next story here, and just say this about that. Mike Lee, who's very prolific on X, starts this story chain out here with this particular element to the story. When you take a look at the fact that conservatives stand out in the news industry because they're so rare. And that's true. Anything in the legacy media, you don't see very many conservatives. Obviously, Scott Jennings is the guy you see almost every day. So conservative viewpoints are rare in the news industry, but not any among Americans, roughly half of whom lean conservative. Actually, it's a little more than that. And as we're starting to see in polling, it's significantly more than that. But the query being, so why do so many media companies have at most one? Scott Jennings. Yeah. Jennings is over at CNN. He's currently being courted, as per rumors from the New York Post, as being not just a ratings machine, but also being targeted by CBS News. Could you imagine him working with Barry Weiss over there, on CBS? I don't know. It's quite possible. The Tiffany network would definitely get better and better than it's been in a long time. That'd be kind of positive. But there's more to this, because at the same time that this news was breaking, somebody was bragging on their influence. Jason Cohen dropped this in X, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. But it's what do you call it? Telling? Yeah, I think telling is the right word. Let's take a look at what it is. CNN's Abby Phillip goes on a power trip over her control of nightly debate show. That's right. The lady that does this is this lady here. You've seen her a few times. She interrupts Scott every time he starts to talk. And she's basically like being really excited that she controls that show and can cut off anybody she wants. In fact, I'll play the clip for you. She says, because I'm the host, I can draw the lines around that kind of conduct. Well, let's take a look.
It's my show. And I can draw the lines when I need to draw the lines. And if you watch, as I know you do
every night,
like you've seen the times when I've had to draw some lines at the table. And I don't do it that often because I want it to be not that common, because when I do, it's like when your mom, really tells you it's time to stop. That's kind of how I want it to be, where it's not like that happens all the time, but you know that when I've reached my limit, it's the end. Yeah. That's the limit. And I think that I can, because I'm the host, I can draw those lines around the kind of conduct that I will accept at the table. Yeah. And I have control over who shows up and who doesn't. It's my show. And I can draw.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? There doesn't seem to be any editorial control other than this lady, which is why she cuts off people who have contrarian views to the approved narrative. So she frustrates me, and she has for a long time. But at least she's telling you what she is, and the fact that the show is hers to censor. Well, all of this was captured in an article from the Daily Caller. And again, I like to give you guys facts and data and the supporting documentation. Not a lot of streamers do that. One of the people I think does a great job of doing that, of course, is Zach, otherwise known as Asmongold. And, I look to him to cover things as fairly as possible without inserting so much as his opinion, although he does give his opinion, which I love, and that's why I still do mine. But if you look at the story, again, coming out of Daily Caller, CNN's Abby Phillip admits her network has a left-leaning bias, because it went on further than this on the Breakfast Club show with Charlemagne, who I'd heard was giving up, but apparently not. He should, because he is just a biased human being like nobody can believe. This is Jason Cohen's writing, so there we go, saying CNN host Abby Phillip admitted on Breakfast Club Tuesday that her network leans left, placing its political bent somewhere between Fox and PMSNBC, which will soon be MS Now sometime in November. While 58% of Democrats trust CNN, wow, you guys trust CNN? The same percentage of Republicans distrust the network, of course, probably even higher than that, at least according to a March Pew Research survey done in 2025. After co-host Lauren LaRosa suggested on the popular radio show that there is a perception that CNN is left-leaning, fellow co-host Charlemagne the God said, "It is not just perception, but a fact," prompting Phillips to make the admission. And of course, you can watch that interview if you want to. You can go and see it on the Breakfast Club, the channel over there from Charlemagne. But she said, I would say it's fair to say that CNN, we're not Fox News, but we're also not MSNBC. We are probably center left. No, you're activist left. And I think that was a lot to do with our audience. I don't know. Philip then pivoted to defend her network for regularly hosting Republicans. You have one Republican you can pivot to. That's it. You have a lot of pretend Republicans or panicans. When you actually watch CNN, we have Republicans on every hour of the day. I think we're being a little cagey there. So, yeah. Let's see what our friend Cyrano has to say. Cyrano says, CNN for sale. They can legally say they can be bought. Well, they've already been bought, aren't they? And let's see, the follow-up to that was, and so, I mean, liberal media is a criticism that I think we hear a lot, but there's also way more liberal media and way more conservative media. No, there isn't. There's way more liberal media. There's not very much conservative media out there. It just isn't. And then she went on to say the most stupidest thing that you could say right now, which I also think there are extremes on both sides, and we're not in the extremes. Well, you're willing to lie and propagandize for Democrat candidates, and you're willing to even carry on their lies, quite willingly. So, Communist News Network, you're going to have a hard time shaking that name. And while many haven't says the obvious thing out loud, everyone knows CNN is left. Yeah, I think so. And Weatherman's here. So, hey, say hi to Weatherman. Good to see you. Hey, Dark Hierophant's here as well. Charlemagne the Fraud. Yeah, I won't say that other aspect of his name. I feel that that's not good. I think comparing yourself to the Lord is. I have problems with that. Again, I am.
Culture Casino.
I want to say thank you for that Irate special. So, there's some wild stuff out there. I'm just gonna say, but I am. I'm hopeful that the news media is going to turn around at some point. I really am. I'm hoping. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm like some of our friends who are very hopeful. So Wolfgang Prime says for a Culture Casino Cash here, CNN's lean so far left, it passed the L, E, and F. Woo! Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they are well gone. Well gone. And that's okay. That's okay. Modalicious. Good to see you. Says, I guarantee the distrust numbers are significantly higher. I know they are. I'm the guy that pays attention to all that polling. In fact, I have some stories if we are on long enough I can get to talk about that, or else I'm just going to record a video. Because a lot of people are asking a question if legacy media is salvageable. My gut instinct and reaction would be, no. I think most of us would probably get to that pretty quickly. So I'm seeing myself stutter like crazy, and I don't know why. I'm Robin Leach, and I don't know why. Yeah, I just thought that would be something fun to cover. And speaking of Japan, I think Cole Hauser brought up Japan. I'm gonna drop this clip in here just because I think it's good timing. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. 47 was at Yokosuka Naval Base. On the deck, it looks like, of the USS George Washington, and he had some things to say while he was there. Let's see if I can share this. I'm having a hard time with the share. I'm also having major stuttering on my side. So let's get this up on the screen for y'all. All right, here we go. 47 himself. Boom.
And I was just told by the Prime Minister that Toyota is going to be putting auto plants all over the United States to the tune of over $10 billion. So that's Toyota. So go out and buy a Toyota.
Wow.
And that's a lot to do with, because right now we have all the AI plants. We have so many things happening in the United States. And it's because of November 5th, Election Day, but it's also because of tariffs. And I was just told by the Prime Minister that Toyota is...
Isn't that amazing? I mean, the guy's there for like a handful of days, and he's just kicking it. He's just kicking it. So yeah, I know I'm seeing the stutter myself. Hopefully we can solve that here in just a moment. We have a lot of clips though, so maybe it's eating everything right now, which wouldn't surprise me at all. But I'm rooting for Scott Jennings, and if he replaces the quitter, I mean, that's going to be even better as far as I'm concerned. But the reason that I'm in favor, look, if you're here, let's get back to this. If you are here in the audience and you are adversarial to the idea, you're adversarial to the idea that we should be allowing people in to our country without restriction and without borders, you're not going to enjoy this, because this particular clip kind of summarizes one of the reasons why. It gets me a little hot under the collar. We're going to pause for comments from you guys here in just a minute, but let me show you this and listen to what's going on here, because this is terrifying in a way that I'm uncomfortable with. So let's grab it. All right. So according to X Alerts, the flight out of Chicago was forced to make an emergency landing after an Indian national on an expired Biden student visa stabbed two teens with a metal fork and then slaps a flight attendant. One teen was stabbed in the head, the other the shoulder, and I hope they're both okay. Let's take a look at the Dapper Detectives video.
Tonight, a passenger accused of stabbing two teenagers and slapping a flight attendant, and who forced a plane bound for Germany to make an unscheduled stop in Boston, is facing charges. Breaking tonight, investigators say Praneeth Kumar Usirapalli was on board a Lufthansa flight from Chicago to Frankfurt Saturday when he attacked two other passengers with a metal fork, striking one in the clavicle, the other in the back of the head. After a scuffle with the cabin crew, the plane landed in Boston, where Usirapalli was arrested. Tonight,
Okay, so this is one of the problems with student visas, obviously, but we need to actually screen people coming into this country. And people overstaying their visas, that's illegal. And so, if they're ever come in a confrontation with any law enforcement, they should immediately be detained and deported, because they're not supposed to be here anyway. I don't know what the problem is or the hesitancy with that is, because you should not be rewarded for illegal activity. I really don't get it. Man, I wish I had more commercial stuff for you guys to see so I could try to reboot things. But anyway, I want to agree with our good friend Kaliki Okedi. Toyotas are great cars. I've enjoyed them. I had a pickup truck when I had my first landscaping company. I had in late 80s tan Toyota pickup truck with the B10 or B210 engine in it, I think. Or maybe that was the Nissan. But anyway, um, that thing ran forever until one of my buddies actually shoveled the front end on the back of another truck. So I'll just tell you, they are really great cars, and I enjoyed it. It definitely kept the landscaping business afloat for a long time, and I appreciated that very much. All right, we are going to get to the shutdowns here in just a moment, but we should probably talk about something else with the Biden administration. I think. I think. Another super chat. Let's grab some more comments real quick. And just say, Modalicious again, dropping a super duper saying there should be one reason for this Toyota agreement. Make the Hilux available in the States. That'd be pretty cool. I would enjoy that. That'd be pretty cool. Larry's out there, federal prison bound. Maybe, probably, I'd say. And when you're done serving your time, you go back to your home country. I'm tired of this stuff. Special sandal charge, says Dalube. It wasn't a knife. It was a fork, a metal fork. It would be pretty easy to pick up in first class if somebody was having that, or if they walked by the flight attendants area, which actually has silverware. And that's Tony Piacente's point. We'll be getting plasticware now. Yeah, that'll be a real problem. Let's see. Wolfgang Prime says, I propose we bring back the show Wipeout. The winner gets citizenship, and everyone else has to leave and never come back. Culture, you and Joe Rogan can host. Thank you. I think I would love that. I'd love to work with Joe. Plus, I admire him very much. He's very down to earth guy. He asks more questions than he speaks in a factual way. I think that's really important to know what's going on around you. So, but let's talk a little bit about what the House Oversight Committee decided today. It was pretty surprising, at least according to me. And Jesus Davia is here and gifted a Culture Casino membership. Thank you, Jesus. You're amazing. I'll just say Jesus. If I forget what you prefer. I know Mark Fields is here for $2 to say, "Hail CC, I'm so glad the show is doing well." It is. You guys are supporting it. I'm watching the super chats roll in and the gifted memberships. Guys, we really are going to try to get that 1,000 membership mark. I think that's a big deal. I also think I'm going to make sure I have clips preloaded so that we don't have these kind of stutters, because that's driving me crazy. Probably not helping the show much either. But Eric Doherty posted today the results of the House Oversight Committee on all President Biden executive actions. This was something that's going to make news for a while, especially tonight. If you're a Tim Pool viewer, I assure you, you'll be seeing this tonight on his show, I would imagine. So breaking U.S. House Oversight Committee deems all presidential Biden executive actions null and void, including pardons performed by White House staff and signed by Autopen, because you have to actually sign those in pen. There can be no Autopen involved in that. The committee demands an immediate investigation by AG Pam Bondi. We're calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to conduct a thorough review of these executive actions and scrutinize key by Biden aides who took the fifth to hide their participation in the cover-up. Yep. You knew that was coming. So here's I guess, everything, including the letter. They have a 100-page report on this, folks. 100 pages. Calling into question Biden's executive actions and pardons. That includes Dr. Fauci, guys. I wonder what will happen with that. Hopefully something. For a lot of people, I think it is a lot of the people that's like the do nothing crowd or nothing ever happens crowd. I would like to see them proven wrong for a change because I don't want to start saying stuff like that. I don't. Um, if you're looking for a good story for that, the Independent U.S. publication has a conversation on that, including the cognitive decline of President Biden, which, of course, the press at the time was lying about. So there's all that. And a lot of people, including Anita Dunn, are like saying he was not cognitively there. And that, that's just absolutely true. It's just bad all around. Let's see. We did in our last show, last Thursday, cover an absolute catastrophe, a complete disaster, something that was easily presented by following the laws, the guidance, and the policy of the Department of Transportation. Of course, California doesn't do that, and they have issued tens of thousands of CDLs that kind of destroy, the the United States because they're giving CDLs to people who do not fluently speak English or understand it, or even perhaps even road signs. People who are, trying out for their CDL and testing for it 24 times. This is a big problem. So recently in Arkansas, and again, this is part of that conversation. Um, uh, Somebody else got pulled over, um, and were investigated right away. So a California truck driver was pulled over, this time in Arkansas, unable to speak basic English or read comic traffic signs. This is going to become more and more frequent, especially in southern states, because the best east to west route is still the 10 freeway across the country, mirroring the major rail lines that are along that highway as well. So California's treasonous non-domicile CDL standards are endangering motorists nationwide. How long before other states revoke all reciprocity for California CDLs? Well, first and foremost, we have a serious problem in that we have this full faith and credit act thing that gets in the way of this. But if California were ostracized in that way, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I could play the clip. It's 7 minutes long. They're basically trying to get this person to like understand and speak English, and it just doesn't happen. This has been shared out a zillion times all over the place. But American truckers, you guys are important to this country, and we know it. So you guys need to help fight back against this stuff because it is pure garbage. I just don't know what else to say to that. I find it disgusting. The guy that killed 3 people last week, those should all be something that Gavin Newsom is accountable for. And he should be held up to a very high standard. And not only that, he should be called out on the billions of times he lies. This guy is the biggest liar next to maybe his aunt, Nancy Pelosi. You guys, I don't know if you know this, but Nancy Pelosi is the aunt to this Gavin Newsom toolbag, who's basically a Nepo baby. Don't let him try to sell you on the idea that he grew up poor. He's always been part of it, a very wealthy family. And he's always been a scumbag. So let's take a look at this. This is coming out that, he's useless. He's unreliable, all kinds of other things. So scrutiny is a wonderful word. Thank you for that, Delu. But from our friend Mac, otherwise known as Now It Is Known on X, is a great follow if you want data and information. Gavin Newsom, according to Kevin Dalton, I can't tell you how much of a fan my son is of Charlie Kirk. And then also Gavin Newsom, he wasn't a fan of him as much as he was familiar with him. Let's take a look at this first video and compare it to the second video. because this guy is more inconsistent than a big league hitter.
Last night, trying to.
So let's rewind a little bit. Here we go.
Last night, trying to put my son to bed. He's like, "No, Dad. What time? What time's Charlie gonna be here? What time?" And I'm like, "Dude, you're in school tomorrow." He's 13. He's like, "No. This morning, wakes up at 6 something. He's like, I'm coming." I'm like, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him take off school?
No, he did. Of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is,
you canceled school for like 2 years. One day.
That's a great line.
The point, which is you are making a damn dent.
Thank you. I'm kidding.
Last night, trying to put my.
Okay, so he's very complimentary of Charlie to his face on his podcast and everything else. And let's take a look at this next thing. Oh, here you go.
Obviously a fan of Charlie Kirk. What was the conversation like between you and your son after Charlie Kirk was assassinated?
Well, he called me. I don't know how he got a phone, but he called me from school that day, really alarmed. And all his friends were around the phone that wanted me to somehow express or understand what was going on. He wanted to know if he was dead. He wasn't a fan of him as much as he was familiar with him.
So that's your son, obviously a fan of Charlie Kirk. What was the conversation like between you and your son after Charlie Kirk was assassinated?
Well, he called me. I don't know how he got a.
So yeah, he's a liar. And again, I mean, the old joke is, if a politician's talking, they're lying to you. I get it. I understand that joke. And when it comes to Gavin Newsom, it's very real. But I just feel like we need more from our politicians. We need much more. Modalicious again with a super duper chat here says, wipe out Japan MXC with Guy LaDouche. I love those Japanese game shows. I really do. Jesus Davia says for 5 Culture Casino Cash, I think, or 2. I can't really read it. 70s Rock Fan has a member message. Oh, he does. All right, I'll get to that. And thank you for that. That's the other thing that I wish that EV Mux would actually track. Let's grab that from here. And we've got another one from E. Clay Thompson, which we'll get to in a moment. 70s Rock Fan says, 54 months of membership. Thank you. Culture Casino. Hi, gorgeous. Well, hello, you wonderfully voiced human being. I still love your accent and your dulcet tones, my friends. So it's Equal Admiration Society. Speaking of admiring, I admire E. Clay Thomason and his ability to meme me ruthlessly. For 31 months of membership, Culture eats bologna sausage the long way. I don't eat bologna sausage. I do eat sausage, just not bologna sausage. And 9 times out of 10, it's in a breakfast burrito. All right, let's get to some other conversational pieces here. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I'm not a big fan of Don Lemonhead. Lemonhead is a problem. He is a disingenuous reporter of news, or so he tries to pretend. And he should be getting in hot water. Somebody he was streaming with on their show, I don't know who this person is, and I don't really care. They went after Megyn Kelly. And, that's not great. That's not great. Real quick super chat from Tony Piacente says, Gavin Newsom is a glorified used car salesman. I think that's being too kind. I do. I think that's being too kind. But I understand the sentiment. Let's take a look at this. I need to share it with you. Don Lemonhead is a tool at best, let's say. And let's see. How do I share this? Okay, there we go. Modalicious comes back with another one. Says it's Don Lemon Party. Please get it right. Okay, Don Lemon Party. All right. So here's this podcast. Don Lemon says Megyn Kelly is not hot and looks trans. Are liberals using the term trans as an insult now? Again, this is supposed to be a credible, authoritative news reporter. Let's watch.
Is Megyn Kelly chopped?
I don't know what that means. I don't know what is chopped. I've heard it, but I don't know what that means. What does chopped mean?
She's gonna get mad at me, dude. I don't know if I want this here.
What does chopped mean?
Chop means like not hot.
Yeah, she's chopped. I don't know, the whole MAGA look.
It's all the MAGA ladies.
Too
They
much.
look kind of looks like a Barbie doll covered in like WD-40.
I think she looks trans.
Oh boy. Yeah, the feed is really stuttering. Yeah, let me try something real quickly. Bear with me a moment, please. Let's see, is there some kind of clip I can play? No, not really. All right, I'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. I'm not sure if it's OBS, or it doesn't look like it. Yeah, it's not OBS. Let's do a quick refresh. I'll be right back in just a moment. Just a moment. All right. Is that better? No stuttering? Cool. All right. Memory issue. Memory hole. Head like a hole, black as your soul. All right. Let's get to it. I just think Don Lemon said the wrong thing there, and I think it's something that people are going to be mighty, mighty upset about. And I'm going to promise you this last hour that we're doing today is 100% dedicated to the shutdown. So if you don't want to talk about the shutdown through 6, 7, 8 items, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So sorry about that, but I'm going to make it interesting. I promise. But man, we're in a weird place, kids. We are in a weird, weird place. When Megyn was a kid, blackface at Halloween was cool. I don't know about that. Dave Bob's in the house. Love that guy. Check him out. He's oftentimes on Fridays with my good buddy Loki. Culture Stream was chopped. It was. Hopefully it's better now. I don't see me stuttering anymore, so that's a good thing. Let's see. That's so weird. I don't think you're allowed to use that word. Mark Daly says, Don Lemon says that Megyn looks, yeah, he's saying she looks like a man. Wouldn't that make Lemon find her more attractive? Theoretically, I would think, but maybe not. I don't know. And Tony Piacente says the quiet thing out loud, which is Don Lemon is the last person who should be commenting on somebody else's appearance. Well, yeah, and he certainly shouldn't comment on people's intellect because he was like destroyed, not understanding what the word democracy means. So it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I don't think it's cool to do that, but it's fine. And Putin says, oh, you're saying that's a literal quote, Putin's cat. I don't know. And Dave Bob, we're going to talk about the Democrats holding the country hostage and the poor people, and they're okay with the suffering. This is the thing that made me the most irritated this weekend, was the fact that, they are taking pleasure and joy and gaining leverage from people who, they're supposed to represent. And they don't. They don't. They go out of their way to misrepresent the desires of their constituency and even the unions, that they are supposed to be supporting. The government union is none too pleased with the Democrats right now, but we'll get to that in a minute. This is a breaking huge blow to Chuck Schumer's assertion that every day gets better for us. The CNN reports that Republicans have improved their poll numbers during the shutdown, while Democrats are in the worst position they've been in 20 years. Let's take a look.
Starting with Republicans, how has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Yeah.
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well.
Huge
so we've got a
numbers.
situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because
Well, what I think he's talking about here is the truth, which is that the base Republicans were always going to come up and be excited to see leadership. The independents are seeing leadership and a clear explanation and a delineation of what the differences are. Anybody can go and read the clean CR, and anybody can go and see what the Democrats tried to, bring into the conversation. Nobody can deny that the original assertion was that a clean CR was being passed in the House. And nobody could deny the fact that $1.5 trillion in additional spending over the course of what would have been 2 months, now only about a month left till they have to actually have a real spending bill. Here's where we are. Now, mind you, the clean CR has been passed 13 times previously, and it keeps the funding levels far too high. That's what Rand Paul and I can agree on. We need to reduce spending across the board. But when you look at what's being supported, and we'll get to that towards the end here, you guys are going to not want to miss when I start talking about food stamps, SNAP, and benefits, because you're going to be very angry if you're a conservative, and maybe a little bit frustrated if you're an independent, because you've been lied to for so long. But these numbers show people like, leadership. They like a firm stance, and they like clear messaging. The Democrats don't have clear messaging right now. If you talk to any
something
analyst,
could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how do Democrats, how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats were up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years.
And what he may not say here is this is usually a very large number, because the polling always tends to favor the Democrats, believe it or not. You get a straight answer from the people who are, vote blue no matter who, right? Because they're just brainwashed.
And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
And look, if you know anything about polling, I'm feeling very positive about retention of the House and Senate, and I will be hopefully contributing to some of the data being collected sometime here next year. Before the actual midterms, I think elections across the nation will inform more people as to what's going on, especially in Virginia and maybe a couple of other states as well. But yeah, I mean, the generic ballots are interesting to read right now. I'll just say it that way. So let's take a look at everything else out there, including Mark Daly, who just dropped another super duper chat to say Dems put leverage ahead of the good of the American people. It's funny because you just brought up an almost direct quote from Senator Fetterman, who says you got to vote your country over your party. He's the only one that's making sense on this. And while traditionally he says a lot of strong things, but then of course reverts back to party line voting. On this, he's not. And we'll talk about why what's going on is so misleading. But to finish off what you had to say, the irony of the level of the O. Henry story. Oh, indeed. Indeed. Yeah. It's a no for Rand. I know that was the funniest joke, Rizzler. Trump said, the guy that's always voting no. So funny. It's a good joke. I do not believe that chart. It's just kind of an understanding of where things are at, and the fact that it's on CNN is probably more startling than anything else. But look, it doesn't matter what happens right now. You're still going to get a no vote from Democrats. They're still trying to pretend that this is on Trump, this is on the senators, the Republicans. Doesn't work. You're lying to your constituency, and I've been fighting back on all of them, and we'll get into that as well. But if you take a look at what's being covered in the news right now, you can't run away from what's actually happening. And you guys I have the smartest audience, the best audience on all streaming platforms. I have the best wrenches and everything else. You cannot focus on ideology over what your constituency wants. You need to be on the right side of an 80-20 issue. And the Democrats aren't. They're on the exact wrong side. And again, another Eric Doherty X statement here, breaking for the 13th time. For the 13th time, the Senate Democrats just refused to pay the troops and reopen the government, continuing to use American families as leverage. And as I showed on Thursday, the number 2 in charge of the Democrats, that lady, basically said it out loud. Oh, it's going to hurt, but it's the only time we have leverage. There's no leverage here. When you're telling your voters that they're leverage, you're the whole cause of the pain point. You put some stupid stuff in what should have been a clean CR. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. So the clean CR that was put forward by Republicans was blocked again by Chuck Schumer, needs 60 votes. And that's the biggest part of this what the propagandists have been saying, even people that are supposed to be news people. You have 52, 53 Republicans. You have one guy that votes no on everything. And then you have a few Democrats that have crossed the line that are in their rational mind and are going to be able to go back to their constituencies and argue, hey, I kept voting for this. The rest of the party is off their, rocker. And you need 5, 6, 7, 8 votes to get across the aisle for this to go through to get 60 votes. You don't have 60 Republicans. If you did, this would be done and over. Maybe you will soon enough. But, and Eric Doherty says, I hope Chuck realizes the damage he's doing to the country and the Democrat brand. It's killing them. Because now they're aligned with the socialists. And that just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Hang on just a moment. I'm going to talk with Force of Light specialist Michelle. Hang on just a moment. What? Maybe not. Oh, she already got it. So we're good. Okay. Anyway, sorry guys. Let's try again. So so he's already lost the nation's largest union, which I'll show you here in a moment. But this is the vote. This is the vote. 52 yay and 43 nay at this point in the vote. The optics are not going to work here. They're not going to flip. People are not going to come over to the Democratic side of the table. People are not going to want to work with Democrats going forward. If you're a Republican and you can't get them on board with opening the government with a clean CR, why would you want to work with them on anything else, including what funding they want and extensions for the worst healthcare program we've ever had in this nation? The ACA, otherwise known as Obamacare. That needs to be out of here because there are states, 14 states, that are using Obamacare to give illegals access to health care. No, thank you. That's not a selling point. Americans don't want that. They just don't. You can't even pretend that Americans voted for that. It's an under 40% issue. It might be a 30-something% issue at this point. And look, I mean, I'm going to show you the number of seats versus the number of no's. Let's do that. Let's do that because I think this visually is more pure than what we've been seeing. Here we go. Requires 60% of the vote to pass. If you explain it to Democrats, they'll understand it and realize they've been lied to by this particular political party for a very long time, and that's not a good thing. It just isn't. 55 yes votes. Those are all Republicans. See the red? We'll break it down into, a color map for you. You have 2 Democrats and an independent that have crossed the line. Okay. You have 45 people with 43 of them blue. And the one red here is Rand Paul because he votes no on everything. And an independent who I don't know who that is, nor do I care. I don't even know if Rand Paul is actually the Republican. I don't know. Could be that Murkek lady or whatever her name is. I don't know. But I do know this. 13 times previously, they passed a clean CR. This time, they chose to make it political, and it didn't give them the kind of numbers that they were hoping for. It's exposing the hypocrisy. Dean says, Culture, we are still so far out for me to feel confident. That's why I'm going to be working for these campaigns, guys. I'm going to be out there pounding the pavements in the evening, shaking my neighbors' hands and talking to them about the candidates. I think that's a requirement. And if it means I've got to go find Scott Presler to go help out wherever it's absolutely needed, I will. Davina, it's a bowel movement. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Putin's cat says one truth. Okay. Crime will increase. People that are poor and hungry will be reaching out to you. Well, they'll be stealing stuff. And they've already threatened the American public with that. But they're not, again, they need to go to Democrat neighborhoods to pose their threats because it's the Democrats who are destroying this. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, industry doesn't care because Davina just pointed out that Amazon's cutting 30,000 jobs. Okay. So, why aren't they cutting 30,000 government employees? I mean, they can be replaced with AI, right? And I'm not wishing that, folks. Please don't misunderstand. Yeah. Lauren says that the second lady of the United States, which is Usha Vance, lovely lady, believes in Hinduism. Okay. Maybe she will change her mind and convert. I don't think that's required before she becomes the first lady. I don't have an answer for that. I don't think it's required. I think you're allowed to have, whatever faith you've got. If you're a part of a duly elected ticket. And again, second lady's powers are what they are, which is none. And first lady's powers are what they are, which is also none. So I'm not terribly worried about any of that. Mexican Coke is so good. It is. Mexicoke is, something I pick up at Costco when I can. I really try to avoid soft drinks, though. It's just not super healthy. Man, you guys are on fire today. I saw Jacob in here. Let's see. Let me see if I can pronounce this. I'm going to try. Schmaus, 1975 says, y'all, just dropping in. Well, thank you for dropping in. Leave a thumbs up and be sure you're subscribed to the channel. So let's see what happens. Oh, no, I knew what you meant, Wild Man Yavin. I knew it was the GOP in the midterms. I knew. Yeah. The only thing Chuck Schumer cares about is protecting his Senate seat. And that's how we ended up here. Between he and Jeffries, they don't want to be primaried or moved around by AOC. Jeffries is gosh, what is it they call him? Discount Obama or dollar store Obama? I don't think he's even that articulate. He's not engaging. He doesn't have that natural charisma that Barry had. Barry Swinto or whatever his name was. Before he had decided to adopt an entirely different name. It was pretty crazy. But yeah. Yeah, the ACA is horrible. It's done nothing but raise my rates to the moon. I used to have pretty decent healthcare. And now I'm paying way, way, way more than what I used to, which is garbage. Bernie and AOC are socialists. Dave Bob, you are correct. Very much so. But they pretend to be Democrats. Well, Manny Yavin drops another $5 super duper chance. I wonder why so many donations are receiving. I wonder how many donations they are receiving to maintain their yes/no stances on this. Well, one of the people in the Senate actually broke it down like they would get no funding in small dollar donations, which is what they count on to try to launder their money. That's why Act Blue was so effective at laundering money for the Democrats and their purposes. But they something like 30 million is what that senator said. I'll see if I can find the clip. Maybe I can have it on the next show. But it was pretty significant in fundraising differences. Wild Manny Yavin for another Culture Casino thing. CC, come campaign here. I'll give you a Coke. I might be bought off that cheap. I don't get sugary stuff, guys. So I've never really been a guy that's into sweets. I like dark chocolate and stuff like that, but I don't really need the sweets. Sometimes I'll go on an ice cream binge, which means I'll have 2 scoops of ice cream, but that's about it. Unlike Biden, who, was pretty much guided around by ice cream. Morgan King in the house, all the way up there in Canada, says, will you help out Brendan Herrera, that AK guy out? I don't know. I've not been asked. Like I said, I've done it before. Why not now? I think I'm charismatic and personable, and I could probably talk to you at your front door about why you should, pursue a different candidate and a different party this time. I think you could probably do it. Mark Daly says the 2 of the Dems voting yes are Angus King of Maine and Fetterman. Yeah. Anyone know who the third one is? I don't. But look, I mean, some people understand what it does. And this is the meme I wanted to show because it's really funny. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. And Batman goes, take 60 votes. And this is the thing where they lie constantly. I'm like, look, while you're not lying specifically, you're disingenuous and misleading people. And I have no tolerance for that. these people like Aaron Parnas and these other sycophants out there, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with listening to anything they have to say, which you've set off people. Oh, here's the number 2 Democrat that is enjoying the suffering of others for leverage. Said that out loud in her own words. So I might be paraphrasing a little, but it's the truth. I'm sick and tired of it. And I think you are too. And maybe their constituency is as well, because they're not polling so good right now. This was a weird thing posted by Senate Republicans that I don't understand. Maybe you guys will figure this out. I think they should be fighting back on this issue of these social safety net programs in a more aggressive way. And I think that looks different than what's being done right now, but it should be exposed. Let's take a look real quickly at this particular situation.
And although a very unpleasant tool to use, Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. And although a very unpleasant tool to use,
Again, this is another Democrat saying this out loud. This is Senator Chris Coons. And he's like, this is the only leverage we have, is to make our constituency suffer. This is old thinking, and it's very, very bad, because Chris Coons believes that denying Americans their SNAP benefits may be unpleasant, but it's worth doing because it gives Democrats political leverage. And they're all saying that same talking point, despite the fact that I'm sure it polls like garbage. I'm sure nobody wants to hear that, right? If you're a Democrat hate watching me right now, and I understand, it's okay. You don't have to like me, but I still love you. I love everybody. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'll tell you that if this probably doesn't resonate with you. You're being used for leverage. Who wants to work with a party that does that? Who wants to support a party that does that? The Democrats count on a lot of small dollars, but they've had the most billionaire support in the last election, in the 107 days or whatever baloney sausage book that the Kamala Harris lady is pushing. She wasted $2 billion. That's a big number, by the way. $2 billion. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of people trying to buy favors with somebody. So Republicans just they don't raise money like that. They don't launder money like that. I think Act Blue may be in big trouble still. And I think that it'll be exposed that a lot of NGOs were pushing money to Act Blue as well. And a lot of the NGOs benefiting from USAID, which is canceled, thank goodness. So there's that. Yeah. Oh man, this is a crazy thing, folks. Crazy indeed. Timu Obama. That's what it is. Thank you, guys. That's right. There it is. Dave Bob got it. You guys are on fire. I really appreciate you. Bam Hammer says, 2 scoops? 2 scoops? Yeah, 2 scoops of ice cream. Scandalous. I can scarcely believe you're the same Culture Casino I subscribe to. 2 scoops? Yeah, I know. Look, I try to eat healthy. I try to push y'all to eat healthy or take care of yourself. I'm trying to work on a brand deal to work with a cocoa company, because I support cocoa. It's unsweetened. I put it in my coffee and it'll be delicious. Looking forward to that. Hopefully they like my proposal. Oh, hey, Mark Daly is big time in it right now. Look at that. 10 Culture Casino Cash says, when I was in college, a professor named Leonard Jeffries preached hateful bigotry on par with Al Sharpton and Farrakhan. Wow, that is pretty hateful. His nephew, Hakeem, is now the second most powerful Democrat in Washington, D.C. Yeah, but he's not likable. And I think this is a bigger problem than most people, give credit to when it comes to politics. You got to be somewhat likable. And yeah, this is a good time to start taking notes on all these people. So when it comes to the midterms, you have 1,000 ways to fight back against misinformation and what side of the line they stood on. Donovan Bradford, good to see you. Dude Bro Seth does not like Mr. Coons. So there's that. 11 Alpha's out there on X. Good to see you. Thank you for being here, my friend. Let's see what else we got. Weatherman, Independent Senator Angus King, or Maine of Maine voted for Republican-backed CR to fund the government, joining Catherine Cortez of Nevada. And that's how she got into what was going to be a red seat. And John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who I've said positive things about, to be fair. First of all, the fact that he recovered so well after that stroke and his brain was purely melted, I was like, that's amazing. Speaking of amazing, we got another super duper chat from Modalicious, who says, I highly doubt anyone serving today will ever vote Democrat ever again. Vets remember to a fault. Indeed. Veterans don't like this. And the fact that a billionaire came in and rescued the payroll is pretty amazing to me. But anyway, and I'm going to continue to heap praise on John Fetterman because, well, he's worthy of it. And believe me, it hurts me to do that. But U.S. Senator John Fetterman says, walking to work, I witnessed World Central Kitchen feeding federal workers in front of the Department of Transportation. Absurd it's come to this when our government should be open, in capital letters. Pay everyone for their hard work. Feed everyone. Open the government. And this is the thing that resonates with me. Country over party. This guy's illustrated the fact that you can't root against Trump even if you're a Democrat because you want the country to do well. Rooting against Trump means you don't want the country to do well. I think they agree with that. I didn't root against Biden. I did want him to be, culpable for his crimes. And this is funny. I love the sombrero memes. These are great. Military won't get paid until we get our 1.5 trillion for illegals. And that's all it is, guys. You can argue illegals don't get benefits, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, that's a pure lie. 14 states, because of how they've structured their laws in their states, they use your tax money as part of the ACA to pay for illegal health care. It's not just that. Those aren't the only programs, guys. I'm going to show you something that's going to knock it out of the box for you, I think. And I'm not a little bit, I'm very, very disgusted and very frustrated. I truly am. I think that, I think we have to start pushing reality into this space. That's why I started doing this. Now I'm starting to stutter again, so I'm going to go ahead and come back. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. No more stutter. Yeah, I'm definitely having a browser memory issue, but that's okay. So I want to show you guys something coming out of the Hill. A conversation about the union that just basically told the Democrats to open the government or else. When a union tells you the or else part of that statement, and you're a Democrat, you should be paying attention. From the Hill, the article says Democrats brush off shutdown pressure from union, saying, and it depends on GOP, which is a lie. Which is why that Batman meme resonates. It's a lie. And House Democratic leaders signaled they are not shifting their position on the shutdown a day after the nation's largest federal workers union urged them back a clean funding measure to open the government. You know what? If I were Vought and the president, even before his plane touches ground here in the U.S. again, they should start getting rid of unessential workers again. I know they did a big sweep this last go around. I think they got to do it again. And by the way, the courts are starting to be less involved. Have you guys noticed that? It's because the activist judges are getting their butts kicked, and the threat of being sent off of their seats is real. And who's going to replace them, do you think? It's not going to be another Biden appointee, I promise you that. So the Democrats said they empathize. Does it sound like they empathize? They're enjoying the suffering of others with the workers represented by the Americans Federation of Government Employees, or AFGE, but that ending the shutdown will require GOP leaders to bring House lawmakers back to Washington to negotiate a bipartisan deal. No, they already gave you a clean resolution. Yeah. And there is no scheduled spike in healthcare costs. That's a lie. This is a problem. If they wanted to solve it, they should have solved it 2 years ago. Under Biden, they had the opportunity to, build out something better, but they didn't. And look, all this does is prove that Obamacare is a complete failure, and it exploded healthcare costs, costing you more and more money as taxpayers. It's unsustainable. And that's kind of part of, there's a plan, we can get into that maybe in Thursday's show, of how they designed these ideas to collapse the government under the weight of its own entitlement programs and social safety net baloney sausage. And Representative Kathleen Clark can say all these flowery words, but I can promise you, somebody's gunning for this lady. As far as politically, they are looking at her as vulnerable, and she can be primaried. She said, "We certainly understand where these union members are coming from and the difficult dilemma they have." Yeah, a lot of these government employees represented by this union are probably going to lose their stuff. So it doesn't matter if you're the Democratic whip, the second most powerful position right now. Nobody wants any part of you. And I think you might get primaried in your next run. And I hope so. The Republican Party does not have to come to the table. Do you know why? A clean resolution was already passed in the House. The senators, or the Republican senators, with the exception of Rand Paul and his small-mindedness, have voted 52 votes yay. Need 8 more yay votes. Democrats are, I'm telling you, if Republicans start to want to leverage advertising and things like that, they know the Democrats that are vulnerable in their districts and how to displace them. Pretty easy. At least, and I hate to say this, but Ted Lieu of California is the vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus, and he believes the AFGE is actually advocating on behalf of their membership, and that's what they should be doing. Absolutely. Because the government's shut down because of Democrats. 28 days, folks. Thank you, Weatherman, for sticking around. Look, I could play this video of this lady, but I'm not gonna. I just basically broke it all down. Guys, I want to know what you think on this, because this is one of those things that this is going to hang up a lot of people for voting for Democrats next time around. You threatening people's paychecks and their food supply and everything else. And that's something else we got to get into. The food supply. Because everybody's threatening violence on TikTok and some, things on X. And I've seen some things on YouTube. Because they aren't going to get their SNAP and their food stamps and everything else. First of all, food stamps, SNAP, all that, way too much money. Way too much. And after this next segment, y'all are going to be irritated. I almost said pissed, but I feel like that's kind of strong. Just like hate. Hate's a strong word. Okay? So let's take a look at this, okay? I think you guys will have a new understanding of where I'm coming from when I see these entitlement programs exploited in a way that costs you, the taxpayer, here in the United States. Coming from Derek Evans' account on X. 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps, meaning that most of the people getting food stamps from the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer are not even Americans.
There are 42 million people in this country that need food stamps on a weekly basis. And we're saying people deliberately instead of Americans, because most of the people that are on food stamps aren't even from this country. 45% of Afghanistan immigrants are on food stamps. 42% of Somali immigrants. 34% of every immigrant from Iraq, 23% of Haitians, 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps, meaning that most of the people getting food stamps from the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer are not even Americans. Think about that. And we didn't know about any of this before the government shutdown started, but thanks to Democrats, we can confirm tonight that millions of Joe Biden illegal aliens, people who crossed the border when Joe was president, are now collecting food stamps from a program funded by hardworking American taxpayers. There are
There you go. There you go. Is that fun news you wanted to learn? This is what set me off early in the day, and I think Pro knew it because I'm like setting up this show in the background while we're doing the Pro show. And I was absolutely enraged. Be safe, people. Thanks for being here, and thanks for continuing to lurk on your drive home. They're delusional if they think at 1.5 trillion is coming their way. No, thank you. They're just trying to preserve ACA, which means they're just trying to fund and pay for illegals. That's what it is. So they can have somebody vote for them. I tell you what, if there are observers in place, like is being suggested, that's going to be harder to cheat in an election. I'm just saying. Gothics, or excuse me, Sphinx Modo says, I think this is hurting them and they don't even know it. I agree with you. They don't get it. And now that this kind of stuff is coming out, courtesy of the shutdown, it's on top of everything we learned with how corrupt it's been and with Doge and all the things that are being revealed about Act Blue and the buy a pardon system that was with the White House. Just think about all the news this week is hitting the Democratic Party in a way I don't ever think they expected. And Randy Thodo, you're right. The legacy media will continue to push the orange man bad. But you can't hide from this. It's why I always say facts matter. It's why I try to bring as many facts with me on any given story, because it's really important. There's a lot to get here. So if somebody just catches me in the middle of a stream and joins in and just starts listening, from that point forward, I want them to learn something. I want you guys to be informed. I want you to know why people are reacting to these things and why they're reacting positively or negatively or whatever it is. I want people to see the hypocrisy, and I don't care what side it comes from. And I'm honestly, genuinely telling you that. Like, if some of these people are on Island Boys list that happen to be Republican, I'm not going to hide that. I'm going to throw it up front and center. These are the people I don't want representing me from my party that decided to toss their morals aside. I don't need that. Neither do you. Neither do you. I don't think I'm wrong. And this is beautiful. Modalicious says governments don't feed people. No, especially not if you're in the UK. They're trying to get rid of them. Farmers do. Yeah, they want to get rid of farmers. That's who feeds the country. And they're helping do that because of some, green message baloney sausage that you got. Another new study just recently came out that says it's impossible for CO2 production to be creating the global warming. Not only that, if you guys know anything about the 0.04% of the atmosphere that is CO2, if anything, it's helping green the planet. We are going to be on a greener planet soon, and we're supposed to be in the middle of an ice age, according to Nova when I was a boy. All of these frauds and hoax that the world is going to end, the tides are going to overcome the landmass, all that other stuff that was supposed to happen in 10, 12 years. Everybody has to reset their clock by Greta Thunberg's constant changes to that end date because she's always wrong and she will always be wrong. All these people are wrong and they're misleading you based on bunk science. Do you realize that CO2 generators are put in greenhouses to increase plant growth and productivity? Yeah, I would know something about that. You know what the best way to heat your greenhouse is with some kind of a rocket stove, right? There's a lot of great things out there you can do, but it all requires CO2. Don't believe the garbage. Wow, Putin's cat went full on conspiracy theorist. That's great stuff. I love Putin's cat. Anyway. Hey, it's the felon lawyer in the house. I don't know. I really hate Putin's cat, and I believe the feeling is mutual. You guys, hey, look, don't attack each other. Live in the same space, please, because I want everybody here, even if you don't agree. We've got to be civil to each other. I require it in my chat. If you don't have an affinity for someone, I understand, but it's easier to keep out of the engagement. But I appreciate that, felon lawyer, very much. Hey, look at that. We got our friend here, 11 Alpha. Spanenberger here in Northern Virginia is running ads about how evil Sears and Trump are destroying wonderful government jobs for Virginians. So she thinks it's a winning issue. She's not very bright. In fact, the best commercial I've seen for Winsome Sears, who I think will be a great governor for Virginia, is where Abigail wouldn't answer her questions. She just sat there looking like an adult. I don't know what else to describe her as. She's a very evil white guilt American candidate on the Democratic side that is okay with, enforcing a DEI office in the governor's position. If Sears wins, Virginia will thrive for a decade or more. I truly believe that. Randy Daytona, the golden boy. I'm going to say this. The pullout of Afghanistan was a failed maneuver because they didn't follow the actual plan. Had they followed the plan, it would have been a little bit better, and we wouldn't have left $71 billion in military equipment behind. So we just handed over military assets that could be sold to the Russians and many other people that could be considered enemies by some, so that the Terry government that took over would have those assets to part with and get cash with. That was really dumb. Not to mention, we never really knew where all those billions of dollars went in the pallets of money that disappeared from the different war zones in the Middle East. We still don't know and haven't had any answers since the 9/11 situation about where all the trillions of dollars in the Pentagon went. There's a conversation that needs to be had still, and I think it needs to be done in public. And I think the last couple of years of the Trump administration should be looking into that and putting people in jail forever. Culture. Thank you. I love you guys. I really do. You guys don't understand. Everybody, whether you agree with me, disagree with me, whether you're a troll or not, whether you mean me ruthlessly, I appreciate. You guys are the best. Mark Daly says the quiet thing out loud. Get Elon's Doge boys on this case right now. Yeah, cut off the illegals and send them home. Welfare fraud is a crime. It's true, but again, being in this country illegal is already a crime, even though Don Lemon doesn't recognize it as one. And by the way, if you've crossed the border illegal twice, you've committed a felony at that point. That's definitely a crime. Lemony head, lemon party, whatever. Wolfgang Prime is out there. We got all these great people I'm very thankful for. Jackie Delaney's here. Says, and it's not a couple of $100 a month. It can be up to a couple thousand a month on EBT food stamps. I know. And yet here you are as a taxpayer funding thousands of dollars in these baloney sausage efforts. If you're not angry, I have to ask you, why? Why are you not mad? I'm crazy PO'd. So, RH is culture. It's good to see you guys. It really is. Even crazy white boy over there on the green machine and Weatherman. You guys are rock stars as far as I'm concerned. We got another super duper chat from Mark Daly. Again, thank you. You're very generous today, my friend. It's good to see you. Remember all those stories about illegals on planes with money from God knows where? This is where. Indeed. Our country's been disrupted for a while. That was the plan. I'm going to go through. I think I'm really going to go through the plan to destabilize America. Joint operation that we got to talk about. Greta Thunberg. Thank you for that one, Jumbie. Much appreciated. We got another super chat from our most consistent human being on the planet, who I appreciate and enjoy every day. Graph Web for Frank's sake, and I'm talking about Frank Stallone's sake. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. That's right. Frank Stallone, big influence on me. Made a commercial about his guitar offerings recently. Pretty cool. CO2 is plant food. Well, yeah. Yeah. Look, if you're running a commercial greenhouse, you might have a couple of those giant generators, CO2 generators, hanging up overhead. You know, when I moved to Tennessee and I'm building those, by the way, I'll be begging for money from you all, but I will literally be e-begging. Because those are not cheap to set up, I'm going to say, especially, 135 feet minimum is what I'm aiming for on length. Width, I might cross an acre of property with one of those. But once those are set up and you've got plants growing, you are a commercial operation at that point, especially if you install one of these CO2 generators. It's able to, help you set fruit quickly and rapidly and regularly. Man, you almost can't lose, especially if you have especially if you have your space set up properly, you can do really well. But you have to have CO2 as plant food. You have to. And Dave Bob says the other quiet thing out loud, Bill Gates should be in jail. Yeah, many times over at this point. In fact, if we gave him a domestic opportunity to travel with the president and he touched down in one of the countries that actually have beef with Gates, I don't think he'd be leaving, even under presidential escort. But it is what it is. All right, let's keep going. We're almost done, folks. I have one more to get to, and then I am on my way. So Mila Joy, another good follow, dropped this one that is a Fox News conversation that was interesting because 14 states use Medicare, Medicaid, breaking federal law, giving free health care to illegals. California is one of the biggest, but not the only. So let's take a look at this. This is from the Mila Joy's channel. And I can't find how to control this because it's tickety talk. Well, you're just gonna have to hear this twice. So let's transition over here, and I'm gonna hit the button, and wish that I had some kind of control of this.
The fact is, it just doesn't work anymore. We know the truth. And for those who want to know even more, look up parole programs. Look up what was happening under Biden's administration. Look up the loopholes that were put in place for non-citizens and how many billions it cost American taxpayers. The fact is, we know what's going on here. And the sad truth is, while President Trump fights to keep our troops paid while the government is shut down, Democrats not only fight for non-citizens, but they lie to us along the way.
Yeah. This could cost them an election. If we get this messaging out to everybody to understand that you are paying illegal healthcare. People who came here illegal are taking your money. And not only that, they're taking your money for housing in multiple states, including New York City. What do you think that they're going to deal with next in the UK after they bring down this globalist Herr Starmer, the WEF wackadoodle? By the way, Larry Fink, he's one of the top enemies of the United States. The WEF co-leader now is an enemy of the U.S., and I can't wait until Trump realizes it and stop pretending he's a friend.
Is that in California, they have been giving health care to illegal immigrants, and they've been asking the federal government to fund a portion of that money. And the federal government is wanting to pull. No, they're not using state money.
Yeah, he's a liar.
Federal and state money, and they're asking for the federal government to give more.
It is
money.
Against the law. It's in the statute. It is against the law to enroll in the Affordable Care Act, Medicare or Medicaid.
They're not enrolling.
They're not enrolling you, lying leftists.
They're giving benefits, medical benefits to illegal immigrants, and they are asking the federal government to fund a portion of those benefits.
70 to 80 to 90%.
In my state of Delaware, that is not happening.
We didn't say it was happening in his state of Delaware. It's happening in 14 states across this country. It's costing billions, Elizabeth Pipko, but they keep this whole thing up like not happening.
Yeah, it is happening. And that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem. And been talking about all this stuff since the 70s. So true. Yeah, we might tackle the COVID situation on Thursday's program, so be warned. But we're also going to talk about undermining the United States. The third doctor's in the house. Good to see you. And we got another super chat from Monalicious again. So generous today. Thank you, my friend. Oklahoma House Bill 1804 needs to be implemented nationwide. Applicants will not receive public assistance if they cannot verify their citizenship. I agree with you. I think it should be national law. How about that? Canadian Spider-Man is in the house. One of the great wrenches here for a long, long time. And hang on. 12.3% slaves. I'm not sure what that references to, but interesting. According to Weatherman, like the glaciers, everything on Earth is on a cycle. I agree. And so is ocean ice, which has been growing back at a ridiculous rates lately. It takes hundreds of years to cycle. I agree with that too. Yeah, her last trip to Palestine didn't work out so well. I noticed. She did have an interesting He-Man haircut, though. I will say. Let's see. This is Wolfgang Prime again saying, "Did you know that the Brazilians are cutting down the rainforest at a massive rate? The problem that problem is twofold indeed. Less green converting CO2, and rain is washing away the topsoil, making it impossible to regrow things. And indeed, I know all of those things. Yeah, I mean, we tried to stop the rainforest, and the billionaires used to focus in on the important things like buying up the rainforest in Brazil. I wonder why they stopped doing that. Instead of taking care of the problem the natural way, they want to do unnatural things with lots of investment so they can make billions more on top of it. We are getting very close to the end of the evening. We are getting very close to the end of the evening, folks. We've got about 7 more minutes or so, and then I will be wrapping up the show. Where am I sending? Where am I sending you guys? Do you have a preference on where you go next? If you're a member of this channel, the Culture Casino channel, or Comics Division's channel, you were invited to tonight's watch party, which starts in, well, an hour after we end, it looks like. So there's that. And I think Michelle is even having a watch party over on Force of Light tonight. If so, go and enjoy. Trying to read through all your statements before we tap out. This stuff just frustrates me. Does it frustrate you guys? Is this show worthwhile? Are you enjoying it? If so, please be sure you already hit the thumbs up button. You turned on all notifications. I dropped a video early this morning. It was a short one, only 6 minutes long. Probably want to get some comments in over there talking about a potential future. I like to talk about potential futures when it comes to entertainment, but I'm going to start doing it as far as America goes. So you may start to see a political video on this channel occasionally. Eventually, I think that this show will become its own channel, like Jay did with the Welcome to the Rebellion. I'm pointing at my hat that I took off and replaced with my Make America Great Again. And by the way, anybody who has a problem with making America great, you must not live in America. I want to make America great, make Japan great, make Canada great. I want to make the UK great again. I think that's important. And I think you should have some national pride. I think, misuse of terms like nationalists and nationalism and stuff like that is a disservice to your fellow citizenry. Because you should have pride in your country and your culture, but you shouldn't try to force that on another country that doesn't have your culture. I think that's a big problem, and I think we have to put a stop to that as well. So there's that. This is something I agree with. Just a waste of space. I hate YouTube's new UI. I hate it too. And I hate the fact that y'all have @ signs in front of your name. That drives me crazy. I don't get it. What do you gain by that? Like a lot of extra numbers and garbage? It's insane. By the way, the third Dr. Andy is here. Thank you for being here, my friend. And thank you for the super chat. It says, I live in a small town of 4,300. This year, we have had an influx of temp work visa migrants from India, Nigeria, Somalia, and Mexico. It's getting bad. Yeah, I can imagine so. And I'm sorry for that, my friend. I genuinely am. Canada's got a hot mess, and you stop electing the globalist tool bags that are only there for themselves. Carney is only going to support things that will enrich him through the, Sheffield garbage that he's involved in. I mean, all the energy projects are there to put money in his pockets, not to solve Canada's problems. Not to mention the fact that if you guys lose Saskatchewan and you lose Alberta, the U.S. doesn't need much anymore. They've got they have two new nation states that they'll be able to make deals with for precious resources like oil, and Canada won't profit from it at all. Not to mention the fact that it'll be really easy to build an international highway to Alaska, especially if we can convince the Yukon Peninsula that they're not represented by, your current government in your capital. You guys aren't a unified system anymore, even less so than the United States. So there's 100,000 arguments I could give. Okay, maybe not that many. There's a lot of arguments I could get for, joining the U.S. or at least becoming independent, which we'll recognize immediately and support. I imagine, look, could you imagine a direct pathway to Alaska? It'd be Russia's worst fear. China's worst fear. Especially with all the natural resources you have that China's trying to get from a poor leader, a compromised leader at that, in Carney, who's essentially, as far as I'm concerned, a criminal. Anyway, boy, I go on, don't I? Who else is out there? I think I did. I love this man. This culture guy is live again. Yes, I am, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time. In fact, I'm wrapping up here in just a minute. Mikey is the greatest YouTuber I've ever known. If you guys want to follow a real YouTuber, he's got a channel, Mexican Iron Man. And I think we've built it over, he's in the top 8% of YouTubers, guys. So give that man a hug, show him some love, tell him he's the best YouTuber you know of. Cat slave. It's not migrant healthcare. It's illegal. I know. I say it properly. It is illegal, not migrant. But I do have to read the articles accurately. So let's see. We've got the Tetrarch of Apathy. Tetrarch of Apathy. Okay. Hail, and thanks for being here. Do subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Popcorn Power's in the house. Good to see you. We should switch to whichever balanced budget with the most votes wins. I agree with you. How about we just get rid of the IRS, have a flat tax, a consumption tax that will actually tax the rich, like people suggest? Can you imagine what Bob Iger would have had to pay on his yacht? So there's that. Yeah. All right, guys, I think I'm going to send you over to Midnight's Edge After Dark so you guys can enjoy the comic stylings of Tom. It was a very talented man and a personal friend that I love very much. And, of course, whoever else is gathered over there. I think gathering here twice a week is worth it, and I might be doing it 5 days a week. If you think that's a good idea, write that in the comments section below because I think it'd be fun, and I hope you do too. On that note, let's get Tom and the team a big party over there. Midnight's Edge After Cervezas. That's a Spanish word, guys. I think I'm sending to the right place. Starting in about 5 minutes, folks. So let's get this band together again as soon as possible. And I hope to see you. I really do. Stick around for Midnight's Edge After Dark. You don't have to do anything. For those of you over on the Green Machine, I hope I have a moderator over there that can redirect to Midnight's Edge After Dark because I can't do it. And with that, hopefully you guys are all prepared because we do a little something different here. We do a song that has AOAO in it, and I look for those chats in the end, in the outro. So with that, I'll just say I am double checking I didn't miss any super duper chats. Nope. It was good to see everybody from Canada. My buddy Cole Hauser up there. Everybody on the East Coast, like Snortapoopas. please, if you're on the East Coast and you're in the path of Melissa, get out of her way. Okay. That's a very dangerous thing. Hurricanes are no bueno as far as I'm concerned, and they've displaced and harmed a lot of people that I know. And they're still displaced because of the last one that the Bidens decided wasn't worth it because they corrupted FEMA with ideology. On that note, folks, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, know the politicians you're voting for and why. And until next time, we'll see you. For real.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude, crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently, thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.